I got kicked out of 2 different high schools. I graduated from an alternative school. Never once did I think this Dr. Damon Arnold guy existed inside of me. Now understand this, the reason why I say that is because decisions...
What's good? What's good? Welcome to another edition of the Power Plan. Let me get right into it. You know, I ain't trying to mess around. Let me get right into it because I know your time is valuable. I always say time is something that we can never get back. So I appreciate every week you spending time with me and my team. But limits. This message is about limits. And you know, I always got to talk about a story. So I know you know and you're familiar with how they train baby elephants. If not, I'm gonna tell you a little bitty story of how they train baby elephants. When a baby elephant is born, what they do is they wait for it's able to walk, and then the mother is over to the side, but they take the baby elephant and they take a collar and they put it around his neck, and they take a chain and they give it a whole lot of room, and they take a stake and they pound it into the ground. So the chain gives the elephant a chance to roam around, but it can't go too far. So this is what I believe. I believe that that elephant is looking at other animals and thinking, I see that animal over there running. See deer in the far off, and the deer is just moving. And the elephant thinking, dang, I want to do that. So the elephant tries to move and it can't go too far. It tries to go it can't go too far because that stake in the ground is holding it in its place. And so I think eventually that elephant is like, you know what? I see all those other animals. I want to do that. But then I believe that it's two big elephants, because here's the thing. Here's the reality. You always going to have other people that's going to hate on you. So we're going to call those two big elephants haters. And they probably looking at the baby elephant saying, look at him. Why every day do he try to break away from that chain? Don't he know he can't break away from that chain? And at first, they kind of whispering it so the baby elephant can't hear him. So he just continues every day to try to, but he can only go too far. He can only go too far. Then those two hater elephants, they start talking, look at you. Every day you try to move from that spot. Don't you know you can't move from that spot? And the elephant looks at him like, I can't move from that spot because I see the other animals, they roaming around. Look, they moving all around. And the two hater elephants like, but that's not who you are. You not like them. And so the baby elephant said, you know what? I think I can. And he tries and he can't go nowhere. Then he tried, he can't go nowhere. So days go by, months go by, and years go by. And as he can't break away from that spot that he's been chained to, he stops trying, because he starts looking at them and he sees them not moving around like the other animals. And he starts realizing that maybe I do look like them. I don't look like those other animals. So maybe I'm not supposed to do that. So he stops trying to move. So at this point, the trainer sees what's happening and sees that he trained him just like he trained the other animals. So he comes and he takes the chain from around his neck. He keeps the collar on there because he has to keep him conditioned to think he can't go. So even though the chain isn't there, and even when the chain was there, do you realize elephants can weigh tons? So he could have broke away from that spot, but his mind was conditioned to think he could only go so far. And so now the elephant doesn't even try to move from the space because he's conditioned to think that's all he can do. So here's why I tell you that story. And this is why I titled this message, Limits. See, we place all type of limits on what we have the ability and the possibility to do based on what we've been told by others. But see, just because they're telling you something, that's not your truth. That's not my truth. My truth is I can do whatever I see other people doing that I want to do because I see them living a phenomenal life. But I have to realize that the other people who aren't doing it, who just happen to be in my environment, has nothing to do with me. See, the only limits you have is the limits that you choose to place on you. The only limits that you have is the limits that you say, you know what? I believe that I'm not supposed to do this, or I believe that I am supposed to do this. See, beliefs are a story that you consistently tell yourself again and again. So what belief have you told yourself again and again that you made true? See, the reason why beliefs get wiped out all the time is because somebody figured out a new truth. See, there's new truths being created every single day. So what's the story that you've been telling yourself about what's possible? See, have you been telling yourself that I can't do more than I've been doing? Or have you been telling yourself I can do more, it's just gonna be hard? I said a long time ago, I couldn't do 6 miles. It used to be hard for me to do 2 miles. But then when I did 6 miles for the first time, I said, you know what? It wasn't impossible for me to do it. It was just hard. See, that's what you got to understand, that the things that you want to do, it's not impossible for you to do it. It's just going to be hard. But you can't be conditioned like that elephant to think that you can only stay in this particular environment. See, if you are conditioned to think that this is all you can do, then that's all you will ever do. You won't do anymore because you placed a limit that doesn't really exist. You've created a ceiling that doesn't really exist. What are you believing for when it comes to your dreams? Don't let anyone else, the haters or anyone else, maybe family members, whoever, don't let them tell you what you can do, because you see Will Smith, you see Oprah Winfrey, you've seen Steve Jobs, you see Bill Gates, you see all of these people living a phenomenal life. You can too, but you got to stop taking the limits. Start taking the limits off of what you think is possible. So there we go. There go your power plan for this week. Always say you can live ordinary or you can live extraordinary. But if you want to live extraordinary, you're going to have to take the limits off what you believe is possible. And you're going to have to start telling yourself a different story. All right, y'all. Peace.
I graduated from an alternative school. Never once did I think this Dr. Damon Arnold guy existed inside of me. Now understand this. The reason why I say that is because decisions